Right, I'm delighted to be joined once again by Shawne Merriman. There's loads to talk to you today about, but I know you've just had a fantastic weekend at WrestleMania. That main event on the first night, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. You said it gave you trust issues with the betrayal of Paul Heyman. What did you make of the whole thing?
Yeah, man. Obviously, I've been around wrestling with now 16 years. When I did my first pay-per-view back with them, and I think it's in San Diego. They just keep finding ways to make the creative better, man. I think that double betrayal at the end with Paul Heyman was unexpected. That's what that thing is about. I think Paul Triple H was right, and I don't know if you saw him talking about being a fan or being a critic, right? I was watching wrestling as a kid, man. I was watching, when I used to go and get food and I wouldn't want to leave, I would put the plate under my bed or a bowl because I wouldn't want to go downstairs and miss nothing. I used to get in trouble all the time. And, so to keep going up and finding different ways to be creative and just really enjoy the atmosphere, man. I think that was the biggest thing, and something I agree with what Paul and what Triple H said. Enjoy the atmosphere because the atmosphere was amazing. It was absolutely outstanding.
Absolutely. I mean, the main event, spectacular, as we've said, very creative. The way that CM Punk, we thought he was going to be able to capitalize, and then Heyman betrayed him. I know that you had an elimination with CM Punk on the challenge. So was it pleasurable for you to see CM Punk end up like how he did?
I wish I could say yeah, but we buried the hatchet, man. So we're actually pretty good friends now. He's another one, man. Just you see him come out and the reaction to the crowd, and for somebody that's been doing it as long as he has, for them to still find ways, man, to not only like to pivot, pivot when the time is right, and that's what they're great at doing. When they're switching things up, catching people off guard. Actually, Thursday I was hosting TNA. I basically broadcasted over Moose's match over at Unbreakable for TNA. So I just love being around it. I've always have, and I think that there's so many big things coming in wrestling that they only hit the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to stick with the challenge for a second. This might sound a little bit ridiculous to you. Somebody who's been around some of the best MMA stars in the world, somebody like yourself who's obviously made it to the top of the NFL. But even though he's on the challenge and to get on that show, all you really need to have done is got drunk on the real world. But sticking with it, Jordan Wiseley, for me, one of the best athletes I've ever seen. The things he can do with just one hand. I know you've been around him. I know you've had him on your reality TV show. Can you tell me a little bit how he got on there?
Yeah, man. Jordan is a beast. People don't know, but he got a wrestling background and he's super athletic. This dude is go from wrestling to driving cars. He's a really good race car driver. So I was, kind of involved in helping him out with some stuff there. But yeah, man, I just, we were looking for more crossover guys that are coming from like another sport, another background that has a, kind of a combat sports background of some sort or a wrestling background, which he does, man. So I'm looking to green light, that show after the game about former athletes from other sports, maybe former actors, former actresses, whoever, just trying to get into combat sports and just taking them through workouts, seeing if they can, seeing if they can keep up and see also, look, if one of them will take an amateur fight and lights out extreme fighting when they're done. So I'm putting that in the works right now, and I'll have more details in that soon.
Absolutely. And you've crossed over wonderfully from the NFL to wrestling. I know you've clotheslined Joe Hendry and he got such a massive pop at WrestleMania. What was that moment like for you when you clotheslined him?
It was amazing. Again, it was one of those things. First of all, Joe Hendry, he's just on fire right now in a lot of ways. And if you see, you know, and this, so when Triple H, Paul was basically saying about people being fans or people being critics. I saw a lot of critics talking about Joe Hendry's time that he got in the ring, right? Um, Guess what? If you saw the pop that he got, the reaction from the crowd that he got when he walked out, this is a guy that's coming from TNA that had the whole entire crowd. I mean, the whole entire crowd, everyone, singing this song, and that silly look back into the screen, man, is just it's perfect. And so anyway, being less of a critic and just seeing the reaction is why I always been, kind of around the sport and around the business.
We've got another stat card in the forms of the next lights out card. Tell me all about it because this main event is pretty spectacular. We've got two veterans going at it here.
Yeah, Carl and Tyrell, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. And it's kind of crazy. Every time we talk, and the last time we got a chance to talk, we're trying to. You can start to see we started getting more marquee guys. Every single fight, we're adding more and more marquee talent. Where we believe that a lot of these guys have an opportunity to go to UFC if they, have a streak with us, right? We want to get as many fighters on the verge of that, and then also build a lot of ones that we believe, right? There's this amateur, the state, state champions as an amateur. That already has a following. The people already know who they are on this circuit, on a regional and local circuit, and then build these guys, right? That's kind of the recipe for us. Um, we're not trying to jump out the gate with big name fighters, and I hate to throw other promotions under the bus, but you gotta. This is not a it's not an easy business from the production side of it to the fight side. There's a lot of nuances that go on in this business that people don't understand happens behind the closed doors. So a lot of it's smoke and mirrors, man. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in this sport because everyone wants to be kind of like that next step to the UFC, right? Or be that next up promotion behind whatever boxing promotion they're trying to be bigger than. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, man. So again, we're doing it the right way. We're gonna keep building and doing things because this is the honest truth. I mean, UFC is UFC because they built a brand for 30 plus years, right? And in order to build a brand, you got to do things the right way, the right promotion, letting people know who you are, right? There's a lot of local and regional promotions going in this country right now. So you have to build and gain trust in the fans and who you are as a brand, consistency of fights, no canceling fights because that drives people crazy. That just sends a bad message. But there's a lot of stuff in this business that people don't see that happens behind the scenes, man. And we want to be around. We want to be around for the long haul. We want to be, one of the most legitimate, promotions in this country, and I think we will.
Yeah, it's definitely getting bigger every single time we talk. You're talking there about the long-term goals. So in 5 or so years, where do you think you'll be then?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us right now, we have a lot of tech coming that we're trying to implement into what we're doing, a lot of AI. The partnership with Shot Tracker, with the chips in the gloves, we can measure speed, power punch, speed and power, and the G force and velocity is coming probably in the next 90 days. The live virtual ad sales that will be changing on the mat with my partners PTF Lab. That's going to be live here, I think, by June 14th, the next fight in San Diego we have. So again, we want to be that. We want to get creative and find ways to build different verticals. And then also too, we're interested in working with other promotions, right? Like we know that these things work. I have a great team both on the fight side and on the technology side as well. When it's work, we don't mind working with other promotions and they looking for incremental revenue through ad sales or we license out the technology for data and things like that for the shot tracker partnership we have. I mean, we're not we're going to be big and successful. We don't have to compete with anybody else, but we feel like we have what it takes on the fight side with the talent. I have the team that's been around this business for 20 plus years. We feel like we have what it takes to be around and be one of the marquee promotions in this country for a long time, and I think we will.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. And now moving away from MMA and on to NFL, I want to kick it off firstly with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously not going to team yet. What does the future hold for him right now, do you think?
I think it's in Aaron Rodgers' hands, and it's always been right. I don't think there's many teams that are going to force him to make a decision, and he probably has, right? He probably met with Tomlin, and which is why they haven't gone to get a quarterback or anything else. Um, he's met with him, but he's not going to rush. It's just who Aaron Rodgers has been. You're not going to force him to make a decision, especially publicly. You can meet with him behind closed doors, but publicly, you're not going to force him to make a decision, man. So he'll be, one and done probably wherever he goes and help out whatever rookies behind him and get them going.
100%. And how do you feel about the Chargers' first round pick, running back Amarin Hampton?
Oh man, Omarion, right? He's so it's crazy. His coach down in North Carolina is Natron Means. His run backs coach, who's a Chargers legend out there playing running back. So he come from a good like stable of coaching. He come from a tough and physical offensive coordinator down there in North Carolina. And Jim Harbaugh, man, is going to have a lot of fun with that. With him and Najee Harris in that backfield, it's scary because, you got your thunder and lightning, but both of those guys could be thunder or lightning at any given time, right? Depending on what down it is, and who's getting the ball. But it really just shows you what Jim Harbaugh's plans are this upcoming season.
Absolutely. I mean, the first round of the draft, very exciting. Who are you most excited about to have come out of that?
Um, to be honest, Abdul Carter. I mean, I think that he'll probably win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I hate putting a stamp on people too early without doing anything on the field, but he's just one of those guys that it's not going to take him a while to get used to this NFL system. You can put him on the field, and he's just a natural talent that's very explosive. Um, I think he'll have a double-digit sack year this year and play great.
Absolutely. Shawne, thank you so much for giving me some time again. It's always appreciated. But before I let you go, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, you make sure you guys tune in. May 10th, we'll be in Long Beach, California. Get your tickets at lightsoutxf.com. And also make sure you download Lights Out Sports TV. Free, totally free. Got a bunch of free live sports in there. Also, you can download us on every CTV device or whatever TV, smart TV out there. You got iOS, Android, we'll be there. May 10th, we got a big one on our hands, man. I cannot wait for Tyrell and Carl. This is the one I really, really can't wait for this main event.